Hello and welcome to Viva Barca. Welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to be discussing on the latest developing stories. We start with Ansu Fati, as it has been reported that super agent Josh Mendes will do everything to convince Ansu Fati to leave the club. We are going to be discussing on that as we move ahead. Then secondly, talking about still Ansu Fati, as it has been reported that Barca preferred to sell the La Masia player over 23-year-old Ferran Torres in the summer. We are also going to be discussing more on that. So guys, as we get right into the full stories, please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. There has been a lot of noise surrounding the future of Ansu Fati lately, with multiple reports across Spain suggesting that the player has lost favors with the Barca board and the coaching staff. The youngster has never been the same following his injury and has struggled to carve out a regular place in the first team this season. He has fallen behind the likes of Rafinha, Ousmane Dembele, and Xavi in the pecking order. This has led to speculations linking him with a move away from Camp Nou, as Barca desperately look to raise enough money to be able to sign new players in the coming summer. Fati, though, has remained quite resilient, hinting that he has no intention to leave Barcelona. It appears he wants to fight for his place in the team. But according to the latest report from Javi Miguel of Spanish outlet AS, Josh Mendes will do everything he can to convince Ansu Fati to leave Barcelona ahead of the new season. The Portuguese super agent is the representative of the Barca young star and wants the player to embark on a new journey elsewhere. It is no secret that Mendes shares an excellent relationship with Barca president Joan Laporta. The Portuguese, therefore, is keen on helping out the Catalans, but at the same time, he wants to find a better place for Fati as he looks to continue his staggering progress. The report adds that Fati, whose market value now stands at just 35 million euros himself, may finally greenlight his departure if Xavi Hernandez personally conveys the message. If the Barcelona coach confirms the attacker will have a secondary role next season, he will leave the club in the coming summer. Ansu Fati's potential exit could go a long way in filling up Barcelona coffers, which in turn could help the Blaugrana fund moves off their top targets during the summer transfer window. Obviously, Fati's move would be a great help for Barca, but the problem is, how can you convince Fati to leave? Because his father have always said his son must stay and have chances at Barca no matter what, and Ansu Fati himself wants to stay despite having a very terrible season last time out, hoping that he can regain his form. But it seems as though Xavi and his coaching staff have already lost patience, and also to the extent where Josh Mendes, his agent, is trying his best to ensure that Ansu Fati should leave this club for the betterment of his own future, then it means Ansu Fati might just be sold if push comes to shove. So as it stands right now, Ansu Fati's future remains so much uncertain, so much uncertain. We can't guarantee anything about Ansu Fati staying at Barca. Nothing. Because as it stands now, we know Barca needs sales. We need to sell players. If not, we can't be able to balance the books. We won't be able to have space on our wages to bring in new players and, most importantly, register those players. It will be very, very necessary to sell players. And who are those players who will be on the chopping block? It still remains to be seen. But Ansu Fati, from all indications, is one of those players. Of course, we're talking about Ferran Torres as well, who was also linked to an exit because of poor form. But we started getting reports in the past days that manager Xavi is intending to keep in Ferran Torres next season, which of course I think came to as a big shock to many Barca fans out there, including myself, as Ferran Torres is one of those forwards that have been off the mark and have not done something special to deserve a place in this team next season. But let's see. I think there are certain players that, as we know, that not every season must be good for you. There are players that there's a season that they are not in the mood. They are not good enough. But that doesn't mean they are bad players. I think the next season, some of these players might just as I said, might just have a better season than last season. Trying to analyze everything that went about this season, trying to train very well and also correct some issues or some errors. So let's see how it goes for Ansu Fati. Of course, Ansu Fati remains very frustrated. He knows very well that he has not left up to the potential. And when he was given the number 10 jersey left by Messi, I don't know if that is weighing a lot on his shoulders that he can't carry, and he's suffering a lot with form. Because when we talk about injuries, Ansu Fati have been free with injuries this season, and that is what many of us have been asking for. Because for the last 2 seasons before this season, Ansu Fati have been suffering from injury problems. And when he's now injury free, form is not coming. So it is something terrible. Hopefully, things could be sorted out. His future could be sorted out in the summer window, because honestly, if they sell Ansu Fati, it won't be the biggest surprise in the world. Then on to the final story of discussion. Barca manager Xavi Hernandez plans to count on misfiring forward Ferran Torres for next season. And as things stand, the La Liga champions prefer to sell Ansu Fati over the 23-year-old attacker in the summer, Ferran Torres, according to Luis Rojo of Marca. Barcelona are in need of major sales in the coming weeks so they can generate important revenue, which will enable them to sign and register players in the summer. Ansu Fati, Ferran, and Frank Kessie are the ones being linked with an exit the strongest. Among the trio, the two forwards are understood to be reluctant to leave, while the midfielder has accepted his fate and will move on if an interesting offer arrives. However, as per the aforementioned report, as things stand, Barcelona have no plans to sell Ferran Torres. The 23-year-old arrived at the club from Manchester City in a deal worth 55 million euros in January of last year, but has failed to live up to the expectations that came with the price tag. In 45 appearances this term, the former Valencia man produced a tally of 7 goals and just 3 assists, which is not good enough. But Xavi has faith in Ferran still and counts on him for next season. The manager has confidence in the 23-year-old attacker and believes that he can be important to the team in the upcoming season. Instead, the Blaugrana are now more inclined towards selling Ansu Fati in the summer. The 20-year-old posted better numbers than Torres last season, finishing with 10 goals and 4 assists in all competitions. However, given that he is an academic graduate, Fati's sale could mean that the entire fee that Barca received can be written down as net profit, which will help the club with the financial fair play. So guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.